everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Articulating with David Barnett. I am your host, Anna Thornton, and I am joined today by my co-host, David Barnett. And we are also so excited to have Carol Christ join us today as well. Carol is an artist, a curator, and longtime friend of the gallery. So we're so excited today to be able to spotlight her work as an artist and a curator. So welcome, Carol. Thank you for coming today. And I guess we'll start out with if you could tell our viewers about your journey to becoming an artist and how you first started making art.
Well, I think I started like a lot of people at age 2, coloring on the walls with the Crayola crayon. Yeah. And then incorporated paper into my work and just took off from there. And now I use more traditional materials.
Yeah, well, good. And how did you know that you were an artist? Was there just...
I just was always into doing that, and I went to a lot of the things at the playgrounds where they offered art sessions with kids. My mom was always a big supporter of the arts and always bought me art materials. And I just kind of continued that. And then when it came time for my career, I kind of struggled between chemistry and then art.
Interesting.
And I took commercial art first, and then I went into fine art.
Wow. And
well, chemistry and art, that's an interesting combination.
It is. Do you think there are similarities between the two fields?
No, none.
None at all. Wow.
There could be.
Yeah. I suppose you can mix your own pigments.
Right. Yeah. Chagall used to take raw minerals and to get his pigments, like lapis lazuli. Well, he didn't do it himself, but he had craftsmen and artisans to do that for him.
And they sell those now. You can buy just the pigments.
And what medium does your practice kind of revolve around? Are you a painter or a sculptor or what?
I'm mostly a painter, although I've dabbled in artist books. I haven't done any sculpting, but my favorite medium, I think I would have to say, is watercolor. But I also like casein. I do things in oil, but I struggle with it. So I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Well, we have an example of your work behind us here. This is a very fun, kind of surreal almost painting. And the title is Two Pukas. Could you tell our viewers the story behind this whimsical piece?
Yes, we had a show, I think at Shower Art Center a few years ago, and that's kind of they have a theater there. So we did a show called Wild About the Theater. Wild is an Oscar Wilde. And we were supposed to produce a piece based on a play. So I chose Harvey, which is one of my favorite plays of all time.
James Stewart.
Yeah. Instead of James Stewart playing Elwood P. Dowd, I had my husband sit in because he's kind of an Elwood P. Dowd kind of guy. He's very pleasant, very creative, and I put him in the chair with his buddy Harvey behind him. And it was the most fun piece I ever painted. And someone actually wanted to buy this piece, but it sits over my table in my dining room.
So you refused to sell it?
I ended up giving him a giclée.
Of this?
Yeah, of this painting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good solution.
And at the show, people were talking about it, like, why are you talking about this painting? I said, because when you move around the painting, the chair kind of changes position and it's always facing you.
I never noticed that.
It was a lot of fun figuring out things like how to get the rabbit ears paws
What
and how
about
they
the
would
carrot that's hanging over the top of the bookcase?
It just, pukas are, they're Celtic figures that are sort of pranksters. And my husband is also a big prankster, so he was perfect for this. So he's pranking here, and then I liked to put in some carrot references, and I dressed him like a carrot. And then O.P. Dowd also was a bit of a tickler, so I had to put the glass of brandy next to him. But it was just so much fun to do this painting.
Wow. And for our viewers who maybe don't know, could one of you give us a brief synopsis of what the play Harvey is about?
Oh, Harvey is about a really pleasant man who's a little off. And he likes to go to bars and talk to people, and he's everybody's friend. And unfortunately, he sees this giant invisible rabbit who's his best friend, and his name is Harvey. And his sister that he lives with finds him a total embarrassment, and she's trying to marry off her daughter, and she can't have friends over because while everybody loves Elwood P. Dowd, he tends to bring out Harvey, and then everybody skedaddles.
Oh, no.
It's just a great, great story, and they try to have him committed. And
Well, I think you've definitely captured the whimsical side of that story in your painting.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a piece titled Pantanal Lace. This is an incredibly realistic watercolor painting. I was amazed when I first saw it because I actually thought it was a photograph. Carol, tell us about where this lake is and what about this scene drew you in?
Well, this was from a photo I took in Brazil in a place called the Pantanal, which is an alluvial plain about the size of Texas, I think, in the eastern part of Brazil. And it's basically a big flooded area that sometimes it's flooded, sometimes it's desert, sometimes it's jungle, and it's the open range. And it's populated by the natives, basically, local Indians, and it's got a lot of cattle ranches, and we stayed at a cattle ranch. And we would go out they'd bring us horses, and we'd go out every day, and I was amazed by the way everything looked. It was so chewed up because they don't have pesticides, so everything was really
I noticed that.
Yeah.
All of the lily pads, they're all eaten.
Yep, and it looks
By
like
different
lakes.
critters.
And right in the middle of all this devastation was this beautiful flower, which
What kind of flower is that?
It's a water hyacinth, which is incredibly invasive, which I didn't know at the time, but it was just really pretty.
Did you bring any home with you?
They're illegal.
I know that.
Yes.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, I did not.
I wasn't going to report you.
So that's kind of the story of that piece, but
Okay.
it was really interesting to see a place that was so pristine and what it actually looks like when
That's
nobody
very
manages
special.
it. Yeah.
How did you decide to go there?
I have a friend who owns a coffee plantation there.
Uh-huh. And when were you there?
2002, maybe 2003.
Is she still there?
He still has the plantation, which is very interesting because when he bought the property, there was only one standing wall to the building, and he found the blueprints.
Uh-huh.
So he actually built it from recycled materials from other plantations.
Oh
And
my God.
the
That's
building
incredible.
has a water wheel in it that runs all the electricity.
Wow.
And he found an identical water wheel somewhere and installed
Wow,
it.
so there's a river there?
There's a creek that runs
Great.
under the
Okay.
house.
There's enough to generate the
Yep.
wheel.
So this piece you did from a photo you took in Brazil, and then in some of the later paintings, those were inspired by a trip to China. So I'm curious how your travels inform your artistic practice.
Well, I think the wonderful thing about traveling is you see things you've never seen before. And, that always inspires me. And, talking to the people, you get a whole different feel for how people live in different communities and what they value. And I think that really makes me want to paint something from that area.
That's beautiful. Okay, next up we have a painting titled Artist in the Garden. Carol, can you tell us a little bit about where this scene is set?
Yes, I was in China at the time, and we went to a place called Suzhou, which has one of a few still existing giant gardens, and it covers like, I think something like 30 acres. And part of it is indoor, and part of it is outdoor, and it was misty that day. And we were walking through some of the buildings and got to the outside part, and there was this man doing traditional Chinese brush painting under one of these pergolas in the garden. He was sitting on a vase, and I was just like so taken with him. So, and the garden is 400 years old. And in Chinese, it's called, well, I don't know the Chinese word, but it means lingering garden because it's 400 years old and it's been there forever. And so I saw this man, I really wanted to, I was so excited to see him, I wanted to tell him.
Did he speak English?
No, not a word. He was just a local guy, you know, having a wonderful day sitting in the garden brush painting. And, you know, I was gesturing with him and communicating with him, and I had my phone so I could show him that I was also an artist. So, you know, he was fussing over my work, I was fussing over his, and it was just a wonderful time. And it had such a timeless feeling in this garden because it's just so old.
Were there koi fish in the pond?
Probably, but
But they didn't.
I don't remember
They didn't surface.
seeing that.
Yeah, what I love about this piece is what you were kind of touching on, how we have an artist painting another artist painting. And so it just got me thinking about kind of inter-artist community, and I was wondering how that plays a role in your practice.
Interesting. Well, one of the reasons I started an artist group is I really liked my artist friends and I wanted to be able to show with them. So we're a very sociable group, I think you've noticed. When artists get together, they're just all talking about each other's work and different techniques and things like that.
Did you have your Chinese name stamp made when you were in China?
No, I had it made here at Art Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and it's my name, sort of, in Chinese.
I have one of those too.
Did you get it at Art Asia?
No, Shinling Chow ordered it for me.
Next up we have a lovely painting called Morning Glory, and this is another very detailed watercolor painting. It's just amazing how much depth and tonal range there is. Can you kind of walk our viewers through your watercolor process, kind of from the blank page all the way to the finished product?
Boy. It's a lot to ask for. Well, first thing is finding something you feel like painting and getting...
Is this your garden?
This is out my studio window.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's in my patio.
Okay.
And at the time, I was kind of thought it was really cool the way the morning glories came right through my fence and completely engulfed two of my bushes. And that's where, that was very interesting. And then also the way the light shaft came through from here. And I don't know, it's kind of, you work with the composition first, I think, to make sure you've got movement that goes with the painting, and then also I really like textures. So I have the wood fence, I have the leaves, there's these different kind of wiry things and all this mulch.
Yeah.
And I started working on that and thought, this is crazy.
I don't know how you could do that.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you mask off the lighter areas, or do you just kind of go really slowly to make sure the darks don't bleed into the lights?
I tried to mask off, but I did not on this painting because sometimes the mask stains the paper. And then you can, and also if you leave it out, I left one piece in my studio for way too long and I couldn't get it off.
Oh,
so, yeah, I think a lot of watercolor painters don't use masks for various reasons. I know Joyce Easley would never use any kind of a mask on her work. Because the other thing I really liked about this is the patina on the fence. There's this greenish color on here that I really like. It has a real interesting feel to it when you see it.
Yeah, I love
How many
it.
hours would you say it took you to do this?
It took a year, I think, to get it finished, but I don't paint every day because I'm always busy with something, you know. Just I worked at it as hard as I could, and interesting story behind this piece is a friend of mine said I had to submit it to the winter juried show at Anderson, and this was like the first major piece I'd ever finished. And it won. They have like 5 best of shows, and what they award you with is a solo show. So I had to paint and fill up an entire room. I'm like, I had such
Was that an award or a
It was an award. I don't know. It felt like punishment.
It was a punishment.
And but I only have this one piece.
It's fabulous.
Thank you.
I love the different range of greens throughout the piece. And I was wondering about your palette, because for a lot of artists, a palette is a very personal thing, and some people find themselves returning to certain colors over and over again, while others might only limit themselves to a few colors at a time. So I was wondering what your palette is like.
Well, I really like sap green, and one of our other artists recently introduced me to what is it, umber, greenish umber, which is another interesting shade of green, but it tends to be more to the bluish side. But when you're dealing with plant life, there are plants that are bluish green, there are plants when the light shines through it, they're yellowish. So I don't limit myself to any particular colors, but I am really fond of Payne's Gray of all things. I use a lot of Payne's Gray.
Brand of watercolor?
Well, I wish I could afford Sennelier, but which is the French watercolor brand, but they're hard to find and they're very expensive. But I use Winsor Newton mostly, and Richardson, because Richardson is Wisconsin's
Have
only
you ever used
manufacturer.
Dr. Philip Martin?
I think I might have a few tubes of that because.
Because you can buy it in liquid in bottles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, next we have A Misty Day in the Lingering Garden. So this is another piece from Carol's China series. And this piece is actually different because it's casein rather than watercolor. So for our viewers who might not know what casein is, can you describe it?
It's a milk-based paint, and it's probably the oldest paint medium existing. They used it way back, and when it dries waterproof, which is interesting.
So this doesn't have glass on it?
No, you don't need to put glass on it, which is great. I really enjoy working with it, and I think I started working with it because Richardson, again, Wisconsin's paint manufacturer, they gave away kits, and they had a competition, and they gave away these kits of casein. It was like $200 worth of paint. And a lot of people took up painting with casein because they were really promoting the medium, and I really like it. But like oil paint, I find it kind of hard to blend because I want to blend like watercolor, and yeah, it's a little more difficult, and it has a real funky odor that some people either like or don't like. I happen to like it, but and again, I signed it with my shop.
This is the same.
This is in the garden. They actually have boats in the garden.
So you can go on the boats?
We didn't that day.
I love the reflections that you achieved in the water too. Those are so incredible. Is casein kind of like watercolor in that you work light to dark, where you want to keep the whites? Or is it kind of the opposite?
It's like oil paint.
Okay.
You work backwards because it's opaque.
Yeah.
So you can actually apply the white afterwards. You don't have to rely on the paper to make your whites.
light over dark.
And what building is this that we're looking at?
I think it's just a walkway,
Oh.
and it has all this breeze brick that had all these beautiful patterns in it, and a tile roof. But it's an amazing place. It's just, there's so many different places inside this garden. And again, some are indoor, some are outdoor. But you always feel like you're indoors for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of people running around there when you were there?
There was a ton of people.
Because when we look at your compositions, it looks like there's nobody around.
Well, it was raining on and off, so when it was raining, I take pictures and
Okay.
try
So
to,
you phased the people out.
yes, or remove them. If they were in the shot,
Okay.
I removed them, because I liked,
Oh yeah, you want to have a certain effect.
yes, I liked the
You
feel
don't,
of it.
don't want it to look like a merchandise mart.
Yeah.
All right, our last piece is called The Summer Palace. It's another one from the trip that Carol took to China. And what I love about this piece is how the perspective is oriented, where the tree kind of becomes the focal point, and the palace kind of comes in from the background. But it seems like a lot of your work is about kind of nature and architecture kind of coming together. But what is it about landscapes and greenery that really draws you in?
Well, in China, they had, even their large trees are kind of bonsai'd, and they prune the heck out of them to get these really interesting shapes, especially like against the sky. And there was a lot more stuff in this scene, but I took it out, just concentrated on these beautiful shapes of the trees. Some of them are just amazing.
What are these here? Flower blossoms? What are these white things?
Those are rocks.
Rocks?
Yeah, and then there's grasses in between and some
Okay.
other things. And the light was really shining across those rocks and made them very white. But I think I might have been in a boat when I took that picture.
Okay. What about this structure, the pagoda?
What,
It's
this?
like a pagoda.
Oh, that? Oh, that's the summer palace for the emperor.
Okay. Did you go through there?
We did not.
Was it even open?
This one might have been, but we also went to the Forbidden City, and they were renovating a lot, so you couldn't get into some of the structures.
Okay.
And as artists, when we kind of develop our own style, it's a lot of times we have kind of other artists that we look to for inspiration. So I was wondering who some of your artistic influences are.
Not that you would ever notice it, but it really is Da Vinci and Michelangelo. I love the classics. And also, of course, Van Gogh.
Yes.
And I read a lot about Da Vinci, and when I first started looking into these two fabulous artists, I was surprised I ended up liking Da Vinci more than Michelangelo, although I like Michelangelo's work more. I was in the Louvre, I think it was, and I was just walking down the halls, and I saw one of Michelangelo's statues of a dying slave. And the thing was the sexiest thing I have ever seen in my life. And it was supposed to be a dying slave, but it was so alive, and you just, I don't know, I was overwhelmed by it, and I couldn't stop looking at it. And the other one that I saw when I was walking through was the Venus de Milo. It was just sitting in the middle of a corridor back then, and that was another one that just blew me away, and I never really thought much about it until I saw it in person. It was just gorgeous.
At the Louvre?
Yeah, but now it's all protected because I think I walked up and touched it. I didn't know any better because nothing was, back then,
Protected?
was protected. Now it is.
Yeah, well, you think of millions of people touching an object like that.
It's
You
bad.
can actually wear a hole in it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think that. All I thought was, oh my gosh, it's the Venus de Milo. But, reading a lot about Da Vinci and Michelangelo, I always thought of Da Vinci as more stodgy and Michelangelo as being different than he was, and it's actually the other way around. Da Vinci was just so much fun. Everybody loved him. He had tons of friends. He dressed really wild. Never had a penny to his name. Just kept working. He would go back and rework things. And Michelangelo they should have been friends, and they were not friends, because Michelangelo was always criticizing Da Vinci's pieces. And one of my favorite quotes from Da Vinci about Michelangelo is he said his work looked like it was a bag of walnuts, because he had so many muscles.
Oh, no.
So it was really funny.
But
Walnuts are very healthy.
yes,
But
they're
they
very,
are.
very
Yeah,
interesting people.
Wow. Well, one question I always love asking artists that we interview is what advice you have to people who are aspiring to be artists, or who just want more creativity in their life.
Well, I think if you're aspiring to be a professional artist, and I hate to say this, you better learn your computer skills, because that's the way everything is going, to submit to shows and, type up your resumes or whatever. You should really learn like Microsoft Office or pages and numbers on a Mac, because it's required, and it's going more that way. I'm not saying you should ever create on your computer, but you need that to keep track of your work, to submit things to shows, and it's very frustrating. I think Anna said that I run this artist group, and a lot of my professional artists are older, and they just don't have computer skills, and they struggle with this a lot, and it's a shame, because I have some people that won't enter shows because they can't do the process, which is very sad.
Yeah.
And also, paint what you want to paint. Don't worry about the latest trend, because
Great advice.
Yeah, because I'm doing realism, and I'm going to keep doing it, even though it's not very popular maybe right now. But they tend to, rotate, and all of a sudden tomorrow will be real popular. But paint what you like to paint.
That's good advice. Before we wrap up, I would love it if you could share with our viewers about the Rogues group that you lead. If you could just tell us kind of a history of how that got started, and how long you've been showing in the attic here.
Probably 8 years ago or so, I decided it wasn't going to be in any more artist groups, and then all of a sudden I missed showing with my friends, and I missed all my good artist friends. So the woman I was painting with once a week said, well, why don't we just start another group? So I thought, and I was always getting in trouble with things in these other groups, because I wanted to do things like bring bands in and have music, or wear costumes or whatever, because people in a good mood are going to buy more pieces, right? So, I would like to incorporate that. And, so I felt like I was a rogue, and the movie Rogue One had just come out. So I said, that's it. It's going to be the Rogues artist group. So I thought 8 of my friends, it would be great to have a group of like 8, and we'll go to the different libraries and show there. But that didn't last long, because people were calling me and saying, can I join? And then there were some people that were like, I was too afraid to ask them to join my group because they were just so good. And some of them actually went online to my website and joined.
Wow.
So
Wonderful.
it kept growing, and now we vary between like 38 to 42 artists at a time.
That's
And
amazing.
they're some of the greatest artists in the state. I'm very proud to say that. We're still, I hate to say we're exclusive, but we're only exclusive as far as quality of work. We welcome everybody, but you have to have professional quality work. And like you were saying, talking about framing and things like that. And that was one of the things when I curate that I have trouble with people. I set standards for the group, and they're based on the contracts that I sign with the venues. And they say you have to have this and you have to have that. You can't just do your own thing. As far as presenting your work, it has to be very professional. Use the best materials you can get. Archival. Make sure your framing is appropriate. And I tell everybody use white or off-white mats, because I've seen jurists come through and go, it's got a color mat, I'm not even looking at that. I'm not even looking at that. I'm not even looking at that. So it's for your protection to just make sure you use like white or off-white mats. You glaze your pieces. No sawtooth hangers, which is another one. Because pieces fall off the wall, and someone could get hurt, your piece could get wrecked, but it's still always a struggle. I'm sorry you think pink is a great matte color for that, but it's not gonna make it. And a white mat sets your painting off, or your whatever print or whatever, much more than something like pink or a blue mat that might match your wall, but it's gonna look like that's part of your artwork, and it isn't.
Very well said.
And for a group of that size, 38 to 40, I imagine it's difficult to kind of make all of these diverse styles and techniques come together. So how do you kind of navigate that curatorial process of bringing all these different elements together as a cohesive show?
Well, we have themes to most of our shows, and we recommend, following the theme, and then I don't always see the artwork before it comes in, so there's always this amazing installation job of where you can't just hang things. You have to see the flow of color and composition and framing, so everything around the room kind of has a nice flow to it. Because if you put a really nice piece next to something that it clashes with, people might not even notice the piece. So
yeah, curating, it's its own creative process. You really have to have a vision and figure out how those different puzzle pieces go together.
There's a lot of moving and switching and changing things that happens during the installation process, and thank goodness I have a very tolerant group of installers. So.
And David, what are your thoughts on how the Rogues exhibiting in the attic have enhanced our gallery experience here?
Oh, it's really been a great addition to the gallery presentations, because it provides a wonderful space for so many Wisconsin artists that didn't have the space before. So thanks to Carol for coming up with that.
Well, thanks to you for allowing us to be in your beautiful building.
No, our pleasure. We hope everybody will come and see all the wonderful artworks up there.
Yes, definitely. It's worth the trek up all those stairs to see all the wonderful art at the top. And thank you, Carol, so much for taking the time to chat with us today. To all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you feel more inspired after hearing about Carol's work as an artist and a curator. As always, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this episode, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss new content. Until next time, bye.